You're about to map out the dropshipping successful story of Yanda Wang, now 21 years old, the few 2 steps, winning steps that turning simple dropshipping one product store revenue income to $18,000 in 4 months. The greatest secret to start dropshipping successfully like Yanda are to be found at the end of this video. That's just to keep you here listening and learning until the end, hopefully, just like you watch a good, hopeful movie. Hi, my name is Jack McDonald's. I believe I'm making it different in this business just because I'm really giving it all out for free to you. I'm the only Shopify, believe me, I know all of them. I'm the only Shopify no below dropshipping teacher that has no pitching whatsoever, no selling, all free to you. The whole create quickly a profitable dropshipping store with Shopify and no below for free. The training is available for you in the description box for you to get the money less than 14 days before the free trial ends without spending money in ads with your brand new dropshipping store. Guide also is available for free in the description of this module. Do not make me repeat it again. All is free from me. It's available everything from the same link. The dropshipping success story of Yanda Wang 21 goes like this. In this story, there's no fancy business degrees, no network of knowledgeable mentors, and no pile of money to draw from. It's just a story of a regular kid who started from zero and figured out the path to business success all on his own, pushing through the struggles and setbacks all along the way. What you gotta do to be successful in this business, in any business. Yanda Wang is 21 years old. He's from Hamilton, Ontario. He spent the past year and a bit of exploring the world of e-commerce and dropshipping and has grown his most recent store to $18,000 revenue in 4 months. But this success almost didn't happen for Yanda, who until recently was planning in fact to pursue a very different path in life. A little over a year ago and before that, I was just an average kid, he says. I was in high school and then I went to university and I had no clue to what I wanted to do when I got older. So following the advice of his parent, Yanda enrolled to study life sciences at university. At that time, my parents wanted me to become a doctor, so I just went along with that path. I was like, oh, it seems like a good job. It pays well. I might go ahead and study life sciences and see where it leads me, he says. At the same time, Yanda was spending a lot of time on forums about online businesses. He'd browse the forum and read successful stories of entrepreneurs launching and running their businesses just like yourself. He'd hear all about the endless new ways that it was possible to start an e-commerce business, an online business, and the seemingly endless potential that lay out there in the big World Wide Web. At 15 years old, he even tried to make a little bit of money with affiliate marketing. It didn't result in much, but as he began to read more about different online businesses like e-commerce, he started to get curious. When I started reading about entrepreneurship, e-commerce, and online marketing, that really interested me, you know? I never found anything that interesting before, actually. He says, I would watch YouTube videos and I would read the articles endlessly. That's the first time that I had this feeling of passion, true passion for something that I enjoyed to do. That's when my perspective changed completely, you know. But Yanda was starting from zero, he says. And apart from his brief attempt at affiliate marketing, he had no business experience, but more importantly, no money. As much as he was intrigued by the idea of running his own e-commerce business, he knew it was going to be difficult given his current situation. That's when he heard about dropshipping. The e-commerce business model would allow him to operate an online store without needing to buy inventory up front. He'd only pay for the products once they already been sold, and his supplier would ship them directly to his customer for him. It appealed to me because I didn't have to take too much of a risk, because I didn't really have the money. As a student at the time, I was really working, so I had, I would say, $100 in my bank account, he says. I thought starting a business would be a very expensive process, but through drop shipping, I realized that it's very accessible. Anyone can start it as long as you have some money to begin with for necessities. Just before Christmas in 2017, he began building his first store. He used Shopify as the e-commerce platform and used Overload to find products for dropshipping supply across the world naturally. He was starting from zero and unsure of what to sell at first, so he dabbled in a variety of different product niches. He tried selling makeup and wound up with music boxes, and also had a general store stacked with a variety of trending products. He spent his evening after university engrossed in YouTube tutorials and blog articles, trying to learn as much as possible, just like yourself, It was trial by fire. He was reinvesting all the money he made from his early stores back into the business. So he had his hard-earned money on the line every time he tested a new advertising strategy. That's very, very good to keep yourself on the toe. And it didn't always work out still. There was one point where I ran a huge advertisement on a big meme page, and it was very, very expensive. It was around $800. To me, that was expensive at the time, and it didn't pay off. It didn't generate that many sales. I lost a lot. I would say $400 after expenses, cost of goods, and everything. And at the time, $400 for me was a lot, he says. But rather than being knocked back by the loss, he decided to reframe things. That was a hard moment, But for me, the way I view failure is that it's just a temporary thing, he says. If you fail, you learn something from the process. You learn that you made a mistake, and it will only help you to grow more and help others. Two cool things, he says. So even in times of hardship, I understand that it's going to be hard, really hard. It's going to be tough. You're gonna fail sometimes, but it's like how you react to the failure rather than how you react to the wins that determine your success. It's called resistance. His early store made a little money, but it wasn't until his later stores that things started to really take off as he wished, as he saw before. When he started visualizing himself as a successful entrepreneur. And it was all thanks to the discovery of one product, an iPhone adapter. Can you believe that? This is all the hard work and everything to find the hen of the golden eggs. That one, the product. The adapter, which sits in the phone accessories niche, took his store from zero to over $18,000 in sales just in 4 months. This product in particular, I have a friend that I talked to about dropshipping that I met through my Facebook group, and then he showed me that his store sold this product in the past, and his store did $20,000 in revenue in a month, he says. He searched for a supplier of the same product and found one on AliExpress. To assess the competition level, he looked closely at the product's order history. When he noticed there had been a flood of orders from AliExpress customers. In the order history, you can usually tell if someone is dropshipping, he says. His first tactic is to look closely at the timestamps of the orders. If there's a string of orders placed around the same time, that means it's usually a drop shipper who is bulk fulfilling their orders. The delivery location can provide hints too. Most organic sales on AliExpress are delivered to European customers, but most dropshippers sell products delivered to the United States. So if you see a whole lot of stars and stripes in the order history, it's safe to assume this product is currently being dropshipped. This trick, Yanda believes, is crucial to finding potential winning products. I think one of the biggest criteria now that I look for in products in organic sales from people who use AliExpress as customers and not drop shippers. I said that one more time. He thinks that the biggest criteria that when he looks for a product is organic sales. Organic sale. That's the thing. He looks for organic sales from people who use AliExpress. Check this out. Not as a drop shipper, but as customers. Okay, that shows that there's a demand for the product, but in that exact moment, that supplier is not drop shipping heavily. So you have an opportunity to come in and get a slice of the pipe, he says. Okay, so the phone accessory niche that Yanda chose is brimming with potential. Google Trends show us that it's a niche that has remained popular over the past 5 years and is not going anywhere. Okay, so the great thing about the phone accessory market is that's huge, really huge. It's estimated that there are more than 7 billion mobile phones in use in the world. In the US alone, that number is more than 327 million. Even if you manage to capture just 0.001% of the US market, you have 327,000 potential phones to accessorize. Do you see where I'm coming from? If you choose to sell phone accessories, you can sell products like phone cases, wireless chargers, or ring holders. And because phones are so potential, so personal, I would say, and important in our lives, people want to buy products that match their perspective personal style. So it's a great potential. It has great potential. This niche is really potential for anybody who wants to come in and get a piece of the slice, as Yanda says. This means that there's a potentially limitless amount of designs you could also offer. And it's not just Yanda, who has made a big selling phone accessories. You can check out more of success stories from phone accessory entrepreneurs, which I will provide in the link down in the description. The one is the single product website, the entrepreneur's simple formula for success, and 6 lectures from 2 hustling high school entrepreneurs. If these kids, doing it big, if you are more of an older person, because to a 15 years old guy, a 20 years old guy is a bit older, right? So if you're 20, 21, but even if you older than 30 or whatever, you can still get a piece of slice. This is a big market. You can tell a brand new story, so you can put all your experience as a man, as a woman, as a human being into something to help others, make others' life more designable, more fashionable, more cooler, whatever. So check out these 2 also successful stories, which I will provide in the link down in the description. When he launched his phone accessories, Yanda will show about 2 things. He wanted the store to feel like a premium brand, and 2, advertising doesn't work if it looks like advertising, period. Yanda has worked hard to make the first one true. He wanted the store to feel like a premium brand, as I said, to tell a good story, focusing on the details of the story, of his store experience to communicate a premium brand feel. The first step to doing this was to include just one type of product on his store with 3 variations in style. Because of this, he was able to use a stripped back variation of the theme Brooklyn, which funnels users quickly towards the shop now and add to the cart button. It's a great theme which we use in a lot of our free tutorials on how to start for free a drop shipping in a very profitable drop shipping business. We use Brooklyn a lot, which again is because it funnels users quickly towards the shop now and to the cart or the add to the cart buttons. Okay, the idea is that I wanted to make the store look like a brand, not a drop shipping store and not a general store too. It's a one product store that looks like a real brand, he says. Many general stores are just random collection of products, and personally, I feel like as soon as someone sees a random collection of products, they automatically think of Amazon, and then they start thinking, can I get a better price on Amazon, whatever, so they leave your store to go to a bigger one just like Amazon or whatever, and that's when you lose out, he remembers. Okay, but it doesn't just end there. Yanda has been thinking about the even smaller details like decimal points more. Something that I've recently been doing, he says, is reading a lot about pricing. You know what I'm saying? That's what he says. I think one thing people are often getting absolutely wrong. He says in e-commerce is the way they do their pricing. He says this is a very cool and interesting part for me too, that I've been in this business for a long time, because check this out what he says. So a lot of people, he says, they always recommended ending your pricing at 0.99, right? But I noticed that the only people who really do that are retail brands like Walmart, Loblaws, and some e-commerce brands like Amazon. So these are all really big retailers. And people come to Amazon and Walmart because they want the best price. They want to pay less. They want the cheap stuff. But when you are trying to convince an impulse purchaser, you are basically trying to convince him. But you don't want to do that. You don't want them to think of a price at all. That's the key. You want them to think of your product as a premium product that they can only get from this one site. No price at all. Forget the price. So the way I do this is I do now pricing. He says I actually just leave them a whole numbers like 20 or 22. Check this out. He says it gives it that professional brand feel. Big brand like Nike, their sales online, none of them use 99-cent pricing. They use $17, $47, or $100 or something like that. You know, for this advertising, is stuck firm to the belief that the best ads don't look like ads. So the first one is kind of over. He explained that to give it a professional brand feel, just mimic what big brands do. And one of the thing is as just push one product out. Make sure that the impulse purchaser knows just is attracted by one big product. Okay. Maybe you can have different products, but push it to the background, okay? And then the second thing is pricing. When you try to attract that impulse purchaser with one product, then just put a big whole number as pricing. The second thing is advertising, right? He stuck firm to the belief that the best ads don't look like ads. You know, people don't like ads anyways. You know, you don't like ads. I don't like ads. Nobody does. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I really believe in. Creating content to post that does not look like an ad. Because if it looks like it, people just won't, like it, you know, and then they just, they'll keep scrolling by. Then you'll have a harder time getting it to show to the people due to the Instagram or any social networks algorithm which favors posts that have high engagement, he says. You know, it's a pretty self-explanatory things that works all the time if you understand these two principles. But it took a while to get to the realization of that, and he also admits that when he was just starting out, his ads needed a lot of improvements. When I started out, I didn't know exactly how to make engaging content at all. He says the difference between now and then is now I understand that people don't want to see ads. That's the big realization that I had, you know. So you have to make your ads super subtle, make them in a way that it doesn't look like an ad. In fact, I would also add to this that when the best ads are created when you are trying not to create ads, because if you're trying to create an ads, there's always that 1% or 2% of you trying to make an ad, you know, in the process. That little energy is still there. But if you go out on a movie, out with your family, out with your friend, out with your girlfriend, out with your boyfriend, and then you also have that little 1% of working mind still thinking about your work, then boom, you get the idea. Oh, this looks like an ad, but it's not an ad. So you have the biggest realization in those very moments. So each strategy now is to create content for Instagram that features his product, because his customer base obviously is fond more of kids, that want to spend 20 to 30 years old who wants to buy this iPhone charger adapter but also fits seamlessly. So he's on Instagram, which features his product, but also fits seamlessly within his audience's news feed. Okay, so then he pays related niche accounts with large following to repost it to they follows. Is a basic strategy, which I'll tell you once again. The strategy is now to create content for Instagram that features his product but also fits seamlessly within his audience's news feed. Then he pays related niche accounts with large following to repost it to their followers. This is one of the key if you also want to start making your first month with your store, to really have the store to launch by itself. Whatever little small you make, you repay the niche related with big following. You pay them to basically post your product, and then you give them the whole half of the money that you're gonna make off that product. For example, some of my ads will look like a meme. It would just look like a very organic post that does not look like an ad, he says. To learn more about Yanda's advertising strategy, check out also his meme case study video, which I will be providing in the link down of this module. After experimenting with the Instagram shout-out statistics in his early stores, as I said before, he already had the process down by the time he launched his phone accessory store. So for my phone store, he says, I know exactly what to do. I don't run more ads, find new pages to run them on, then keep stacking. Okay, it's a very quick and he says pretty quickly I was hitting $300 a day in revenue consistently within a week or so of launching the store. So it was pretty profitable right off the bat, he says. So even though Yanda was able to start with zero and reinvest his profits bit by bit to help his business grow, he advises that this probably isn't the best approach. I think a really important piece of advice is you need money to start, he says. If you don't have the money and you want to start your own dropshipping business, you need to get a way to get some money. You need to either get a job, start freelance work, find some way or some source of income. Don't be afraid. Just remove that feeling of, oh, if I get a job, then I can't do this. It's not true. Actually, if you get to do something that you don't like, you to keep on your mind more on what you like. And once you shift to what you really like, you will be putting away more passion. Okay. He recalls how frustrating it was for him to be in that position without enough cash flow to grow his business. It's really frustrated. I was in that stage where I had no money to spend on my drop shipping business. Even though I had made sales with it, I wasn't able to scale it. Last Christmas, I made sales with my music box store, but I wasn't able to scale it because I simply didn't have the money, he says. Over the summer, I ended up getting a part-time job working in an office, and it was the exact moment that I got this job that my second dropshipping store started making incremental sales. It's really funny. I think it's because I had that confidence in the fact that I have money coming in, so I can actually spend on ads without being worried or scared. So everything flows better, he says. He suggests a startup budget of $1,000, so it's not even a big, it's no big deal, $1,000, so that you'll have enough buffer to test different products and scale up with what's working. After that point, you should be able to begin to generate sales and reinvest your revenue back into more ads for the business. Obviously, if ads is your strategy, because content can be a strategy. I really love listen to what I'm saying. I myself, Jack McDonald's, I love content. I love organic because I grew up with a lot of patience, and so to me, I want to wait 6 months just to get 2 sales. I'm a weird business person, but at this time of my life, I love that. So I would put money into create content, to get writers to write content for me, to get people to shoot videos for me, and so trainings, free trainings like that, because that's just me. But obviously, I know 99% don't like that. So if ads is your strategy, you need at least that $1,000, to keep to keep that going. So importantly, he warns also that you have to be comfortable with the idea of burning through it all. Scared money does make any money. He says, I love that quote by Yanda. He says, and that's a point that Yanda GZ agrees with him too. I'll put a link in the description. So starting his e-commerce businesses set Yanda off on a very, very different path to what he had planned a couple of years ago. It's even made him rethink his path towards a career as a doctor. I'm still studying science, but I ended up swapping to another type of science, which is psychology, because drop shipping and having online business really allows you to have at least 6 hours of the day completely free that you can reinvest in studying, because studying is really important. The psychology, he says, I feel like it's been really helpful in understanding how to do my writing, copywriting my product description, and also understanding the mind of a customer or potential customer when they're scrolling through social medias, and also get to know people that I can hire. Very important, because I want a company with young people, he says. But the impact of the business have been greater than the degree he'd be loving university with. It's transformed his outlook on life and given a whole new purpose, he says. So I would say, it has impacted me in so many good ways. He keeps saying, starting my business has given me a good source of money to live off while I'm in university, but I think it's also really changed me to be a better person, to understand the world better, so I can live in better while I'm here on earth, he says, because he's a really spiritual and religious guy also. Before, I would spend my free time just doing nothing around, watching Netflix, he says, and not really being productive, which is really, really bad. And now I feel like it's giving me a sense of purpose, and also has made people around me to want to do more with their life. So I also inspired just being myself, he says. When I wake up in the morning, I have something that I know I can work on, and it can be a bigger thing that really motivates me to get out of bed and start working hard right away. Because have you ever felt like, oh man, I'm doing it? Well, that's how I will feel. Was I you? Thank me now, later. Thank me right now. Comment honestly with what's on your mind. You can subscribe to keep on top of this game. I make sure the description is easy for you to get all the goodies easily. Go ahead. See ya later.